Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It's another installment of a successful transition from monogamy to open, and it's question day on Fridays. So I had someone from our group send me a question, and so I thought I would talk about that today. It's something I've been planning to talk about eventually anyway, so it was great timing. The question was, what are the differences between rules, agreements, and boundaries? And as anyone who has any experience in open relationships knows, the whole topic of rules is often a very touchy subject. And a few months ago, I asked a bunch of people I knew who were very experienced, what were some of the things that they said were the top mistakes that they had made in their open relationships that they would want new people to know about and hopefully avoid. And one of the big things was that people make too many rules. There's too many rules, and that people don't really talk about the rules beforehand. I mean, you think about the word rule, and it kind of sets up this dynamic of that one party's in control and the other one has to follow. So it's not very cooperative, just in the language itself. And it often is done out of fear rather than the need for certain rules to be in place. It's more that I'm so afraid of this new thing we're doing and I don't know what's going to happen. So we're going to set up all these rules to make sure that you don't leave me for somebody else, you don't like somebody else better, whatever the fear is behind the rule. And the problem is people don't talk about that ahead of time to figure out what is the motivation behind the rule, and talk about what the fear is rather than just setting up all these rules. And then it gets in the way, and then you end up with power plays because one person feels like they have to be in control of making sure the rules are being followed. And it can often lead to a lot of problems that then eventually people often work out, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes it ends up being huge problems. So what I often recommend to people is, first of all, try and throw out the rule word, but more than just the word, throw out that kind of concept that one of us has to be in control. And let's talk about, what do we agree upon? Like, how are we designing this dynamic so that it's working for both of us? What are we both wanting out of it? And admit to what we're afraid of. It's okay to admit that I'm a little nervous or anxious about whatever it is that you're anxious about. I'm afraid you're going to find somebody else more attractive than me. I'm afraid you're going to like somebody better than me. I'm afraid if we do this, you're going to meet somebody that is a better lover than I am. Whatever the fear is, talk about it, acknowledge it. And if your partner is telling you about their fears, it's important you really hear them, that you're not just saying, oh no, that'll never happen. It's like, go, talk about it and be like, okay, I can understand how that's scary for you. And, so that you're actually talking about what you're actually hearing them, rather than just kind of patting them on the head and saying, oh no, don't worry, that'll never happen. Because that's not going to help their fear. In fact, if anything, it's only going to intensify it. So, really, at the beginning, I really tell people, think about what are the agreements that you're agreeing upon. There may be some safety things. You may want to agree that, okay, we always use condoms with people other than each other. Okay, that makes sense. But if you decide to have exceptions to that rule, which again, we're going to talk about that eventually down the road too, what are those exceptions? And so it's things to think about and to really talk about. And that's why when people get into open relationships, I talk about how they have to have so many more conversations and so much more communication involved. And there is, because there's a lot of things to talk about that you don't have to think about in exclusive relationships with only one other person. There is a lot. And agreements are certainly one of them. So there's a lot more we could talk about with rules and agreements and boundaries. I think this is a good starting point. It gives you a little bit of something to think about, and we will definitely talk more about it down the road. For now, that's what I want to leave you with. It's Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.